Hey everybody, welcome back. Today, I wanted to continue with my story selling series, but I wanted to do it with a hard example. So today, I'm going to use like a B2B company in a very complex industry, at least for me, as my example for storytelling. So I was talking to a client last week, and they've got a complex company, I think. I'm not going to go into all of it, but basically what they do is they have a treatment that they apply to metals that once they do it, after they do their treatment, once you paint the stuff, the paint sticks better and it's less, and therefore whatever it is less likely to rust. And they also do it with this process that doesn't use some chemicals that are harsh for the environment. So it's a better process. It's better for the planet, but it's better for the product, because when you buy things that are painted, you kind of don't want them to rust, right? And so there's this process that happens in the back, magically that can help it not rust. And this is really important, particularly if you've got a piece of durable equipment. So if you've got like a tractor or your washing machine or stuff like that, it really matters. And so I thought it would be kind of fun to try to simplify all of that into story selling. So if you're up for that, here we go. So no matter how complicated your company or process is, what I really want you guys thinking about is how do you simplify it into a story that's going to be able to help you and your sales team sell a lot better. So first thing you have to know, if you remember our 6-point construct of how we tell a story, is I've got a little visual aid here. Hopefully you can see it. Is you always have a hero. The hero has a problem. A wizard appears. That's you to help the hero with the problem. The wizard presents the way, the bridge, to help the hero get from where they are to where they actually want to be. Then you have to call the hero into action. Then you have to make sure they get across safely so you can have the happy ending to the story. So how would we do that if we're this company and we're actually trying to motivate people to implement this process into their production lines, right? So this is B2B. So imagine big factories that make big stuff made out of metal, and this company wants you to use this process on your metals before you paint, so that the goods will last longer. So our hero in this case is probably a line manager or a line director, in a factory that works on the finishing line, right? Where they're kind of like making it beautiful, adding the paint and all that stuff. So this could be a line manager at a finishing line at a company like John Deere, let's say. That's the hero of the story. That's the prospect that we're going after. And so what's the problem? There's always a villain to the story, the problem. And in this case, the problem is really rust. The problem is, if they make, if a line manager at a company like John Deere makes a nice big tractor and they sell it for a, bejesus amount of money to somebody, and that thing starts to rust as soon as it gets out into the elements, they're going to take it back. It's going to give John Deere a bad name, and nobody wants that, right? So we've got the hero, which is the line man, who's the line manager, who wants this stuff to be finished properly and doesn't want the headache of these products coming back, right? We've got the villain or the problem, which is rust, right? So what's the way? The wizard appears, which is this company I was talking about, with the way, which is they've got this process that does two things. One, it's this magical process that when they apply it before painting, it radically reduces the probability and possibility of rust ever being an issue. And then here's the other amazing thing. It also does it without these really harmful chemicals that when they get flushed out into, water sources, can hurt wildlife and hurt people, right? So they've got a really good way. So what's the call to action in this case? Well, the call to action in this case is they have to actually go out and talk to the line manager and say, listen, we have a way. What you're trying to do is put out good products into the world, right? We've got a way of doing this that does exactly that. It also is less harmful to the environment. Would you like to set up a call with us so that we can demonstrate to you what we do so you can understand it? That's a call to action, right? It's like, Come, let us show you. And if that customer or that line manager truly wants to achieve that job, that's going to be a compelling call to action, right? So come and talk to my friend that works at this company, talk with him for 30 minutes, and he's going to show you exactly how this process works. And then here's the other thing. It will also save money because all of these returns aren't coming back. But the last thing I always talk about with stories is, how do you usher your prospect across the bridge safely? You can make that offer. Give us the opportunity to show this to you so you can actually see that if you apply this process, you're not going to have any problems with rust. You're going to get your manager off your back. You're not going to have returns, and you're going to be a hero because you're going to be able to implement a system that lasts for a freaking lifetime. But then we've got to provide a guarantee, right? We've got to provide some sort of de-risking thing so that person who's making the decision feels very safe in terms of like, okay, I'm going to take this call. So what can they do? They can say, listen, first thing I want you to do is I want you to head over to our website and I want you to watch the video so you actually see the process we apply and what's so different about it than all of those other folks that you're doing business with. Then what they're going to say is, once you watch this video, you're going to realize that this process is absolutely going to eliminate your rust issue. You're not even going to have to deal with that anymore. And so you're going to be able to get your manager off your back. Then what I want you to do, this is providing a path. This is getting them to walk across that bridge, remember? Then what I want you to do is just click the assess my line under the video and answer 5 questions that are going to help us determine, before we ever get on the phone, if we're going to be able to help you with your finishing line. Then, if and only if, without a doubt, we can absolutely, help you with your production line, we're going to invite you to a meeting. But we don't want to waste any of your time. So what we're going to do is we're going to buy your time to do this meeting, right? We're going to give you $100, or we're going to donate to a charity of your choice to make sure that we're absolutely making it worthwhile for your time. And so you can go through all of these things to kind of get them across the bridge like this. Okay, fine. So I'm going to watch a video first to decide if it's right for me. Then I'm going to do this assessment. I'm going to decide, after answering these questions, if they can fix my line. If and only if they can, I'm going to have the opportunity to set an appointment. At that appointment, the worst thing that could possibly happen, that appointment is I'm donating to a charity. I've wasted a little bit of time, but that time that it took me to do that appointment to see if this really works becomes time that's donated to a charity of my choice, right? And then I'll have the opportunity to make a sale or to purchase this process or see if I can implement it into my line. And that's how you take people through the 6 steps, right? You've understood who your hero is, this finishing line guy. You understand what the problem is. It's rust. Rust is the enemy. You, the company, are the wizard, and you have a way, which is this process that you do before paint. You offer you call to action. Hey, listen, I want to invite you for us to be able to prove this to you, that it's going to be able to save you time, save you money, get the government off your back in terms of the environmental waste, get your boss off your back in terms of returns, and I'm going to actually walk you. These are all the steps that you can take before you make that move, before you get on the call, to make sure that it's right for you. That's a very simple story structure applied to a very complex problem. And I want you to see that you can use that story structure for just about everything. And it doesn't feel sleazy or cheesy. It really doesn't. So implement story selling into whatever you're doing. It's so freaking powerful. I'm going to think of another example I can use, maybe not as complex, but I wanted you to see that you can really use it with anything. All right. I hope that's helpful. I'll see you next time.